All right, so I have this pair of pants. They weren't fitting me the way that I want them to fit because sometimes your girl needs a little extra room, be flowy in. So I hadn't worn them in a while. They've been stashed in the back of my drawer. I was like, I gotta do something with them. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you exactly what I did to take those pants from shoved in the back of the drawer to something that I can now wear to either work or to an event or wherever I want to wear them. So grab your sewing gear if you want to tag along with the fun, and let's get into it. So these are the pants in question. They're very, very basic black cargo pants. They did have a cargo pocket on the side. You can kind of see where that was. I did seam rip that off. Now part of it I did just cut off because I wasn't going to use it. But if you were going to possibly like put that cargo pocket back on, then you may want to just seam rip it instead of cut it. Unlike me, which I was like, it. Anyway, they've got a back pocket here and they've got, you know, your normal pockets. What I did was I removed the cargo pockets first. And then I've already modified these once and I actually cut it out because I hated the way that I did it. So that's why I decided I'm going to redo it the way that I do want to do it. So what I did is these are the front, these are the back. They have an elastic waist because I've got to be comfortable. It's so funny that when I was younger, I would think about an elastic waist and I would think about, oh, those are granny pants. I would never be in an elastic waist. Okay, well, I guess I'm a granny now because I like it. It's comfortable. When you work in manufacturing, you want to be comfortable. So anyway, what I did was when I modified these before, I'll show you what I put. I had like a wedge piece of, this is like a stretchy denim that I had put on the side of my pants. And I just really wanted it to kind of be flared. But turns out it was going to be more of a bell bottom. And I put them on and they still didn't fit in the place that I needed them to fit, which is the hips. I am a thick girl. I'm a little thick. So I added this, hated it. So earlier tonight, I just cut them out because I didn't want to deal with it anymore. And that's where they go, over in that pile. As I cut that out, I went ahead and cut all the way up the side of the pants. So now it's just one big old open piece of pant. What am I going to add instead of that? I'm going to add some pieces of some cotton shirts. Now, I've held on to these for so long, trying to figure out what the hell I want to do with them. And I figured that I will do this with the pants with these. One, because they're flowy, it's comfortable, you know, it's not too thick. The pants themselves are kind of thick, but I figured that the insert could be kind of thin because it is warming up. I live in the South, USA, and even though we're supposed to get a couple cold snaps, it's basically going to be spring soon. So I'm going to use these pieces, and while I've got everything like cut open like this, I'm going to add some patchworky bits. I'm just going to do like some overlapping squares and things like that just to add a little flair to the pants so that they're not just black, because I have been incorporating more color in my life as I've gotten older. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take y'all to the sewing table right behind me, and we will cut the pieces that we're going to insert on the sides. I'll make sure that I have plenty of fabric for that, which I should. I'll measure exactly like how much I want to add, and then before we do the sides, we'll add the little patchworky bits. So let me take you over here. Okay, so now I'm at my sewing table and I've got my pants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how much material that I'm going to need to go from the top all the way to the bottom of these pants. So I'm going to go from the waistband, which is here, and I'm just going to measure all the way to the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that measurement and I'm going to add an inch to it. Because sometimes when you sew, you lose material. It's just kind of part of it. So I have learned that if you add, you want to add it for your hems and for your seam allowances and all of that good stuff. But sometimes an extra inch just for good measure. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, Yeah, so we're gonna just take it from here, and we're gonna measure all the way down. Of course, since I don't have a huge sewing area, I have to move and kind of figure things out. So down here at the bottom, I'm at 41.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm just going to go all the way to 44 inches and just make sure that I have my measurement lengthwise that is 44 inches long. Now widthwise, this is something that I probably should have measured before I started cutting open the pants, but I did not. I'm just going to go by vibes, and I'm just going to go by what I think it should be. And what I think that width should be is going to finish at about 3 inches on both sides. So that's going to give me, actually, you know what? I'm going to go 4 inches. I'm going to go 4 inches because I just want to make sure that I have plenty of space. And since I've got the elastic waistband and it has belt loops, I can always add a belt if I need to. But I want to be comfortable. I want to be flowy. I don't want to be tied up and bunched up or anything like that. So I'm going to take my biggest piece here and I'm going to see what my length is. And again, this was just the back of a men's shirt that I got from the thrift store. So it's very soft, very cotton. So this main piece is 21.5 inches long. This piece is 15.5. And let's see, I can combine it with either like a piece that's the same, or I could mix match some things if I wanted to, because I do have multiple shirts that I want to use up. So I'm thinking that I may do some mismatch. We're still going to use the piece that's 21.5, but what I'm going to do to make it to get to 44 is I'm just going to piece some things together, making sure that my pieces are at least 4 inches wide, plus seam allowance. Now I'm going to do 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So if we're going to do that, we want to make sure that our width is 5 inches. 5 inches, because we're going to lose some of that with seam allowance and all that jazz. And then the bits that we have left, we can do our patchworky bits. So that's going to be fun too. Let's see how big this piece is. Okay, so if it's at least as wide as my other one, then I should be good. Let's see, I think I've got a bigger piece of this that doesn't have a pocket. That was another thing that I was going to do. See, this is one of those like cowboy shirts. It's got this little V thing. I know there's a technical term for that. Y'all should know by now. I don't know no technical terms. We don't do that over here. All right, so I believe that I have my pieces for my length. I've got this piece, which is a little bit shorter than that 17.5, but that should get me plenty to 44 inches long. Then the original piece, and then that. So for now, we're going to set that to the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them out and kind of get an idea on what I want to do for the patchwork. Now, one idea that I did have is that on some of these shirts, which I don't think I'm going to do it, but on some of these shirts, I did have some pockets that were cut out. I thought about incorporating the pockets, but I don't think that I'm going to do that. We can save those pockets for another day. What I'm thinking is I'm thinking some pieces that, and they're not all going to be uniform either. We're going to try to do some variety. But this ruler right here is my 4.5 inch ruler. I like the size of this. I have a 4.5 inch ruler. I have a 5.5 inch ruler. And I have a 6.5 inch ruler, which is somewhere, here it is. Here it is. 6.5 inch ruler. Here. So I like these 3 sizes. Now listen, you don't need all these sizes. If you want to do random shapes, do random shapes. I'm just doing squares and patchwork because that's what I like. I like squares and patchwork. but you do whatever you want to do, whatever shapes that you want to do. But we'll take these 3 sizes and we'll just kind of make some squares like this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay some of these together here. And I'm just going to make some squares. And then just kind of go from there. So we're not being particular or fancy here. We're just kind of laying it down there. And like I said, I'm going to be overlapping them. I'm not going to plan out a whole bunch of whatever. I'm just going to lay them. Let them speak to me. That's what most of my sewing is just letting the fabric speak to me and tell me where it wants to go. Now, it doesn't literally speak to me, but like the color schemes, the layouts, things like that, usually just kind of come whenever I start messing with things. So no like huge rhyme or reason, no particulars. My perfectionism days are out of the window. So just like that, we got this side, we got this side. We're going to take it to the machine, sew it on, and go from there. Okay, so I was having so many issues with my damn machine. I don't know if it was just, I don't know. I was having issues. I was going to switch to a straight stitch and finish it out this way. And then I was like, this zigzag should work. I don't understand what the problem is. So anyway, I just had to sit there and like, pet the machine. Anywho, this is where we're at on the front. This is exactly how I wanted it to look. So this is good. I'm going to continue adding squares because I want to. But you just put as much as you want. And I don't know if I'm going to put any on the back. I probably will. I don't know why I was having so many issues with the zigzag. But anyway, we'll carry on. So I do apologize. I forgot to record myself on this part, but those pieces from earlier that we cut for the side inserts that ended up being 7 inches wide instead of the 4 inches wide, I did sew those together end to end to get my length of 44 inches for my pants. Now looking back, I probably should have hemmed at least one end of these before I started inserting them into the sides. But yeah, you live and you learn. It worked either way. So if you're going to do my chaotic method, then what you're going to do is you're going to want to leave some length on the top of your pants, which is near your waistband, and leave some length on the bottom to accommodate a hem. Again, I probably should have done this from the first part, but it's okay. Also, around those pockets, it was a little bit tricky because it was kind of thick, but I did just kind of strong arm through it. What I ended up doing was I did a straight stitch all the way down on both sides of the pants. I did come back through and do a serger seam as well, just to reinforce those sides, make sure that nothing pops and nothing goes crazy. If you don't have a serger, I would recommend doing a straight stitch and also a zigzag stitch just to make sure that those edges are nice and secure. You're going to do this on both sides of your pants for the side insert. Here's the pants. Like I said, baggy fit, very comfortable, very movie and groovy. A little bit weird pillowy thing going on, but again, I'm okay with that. I might put some patches on the back. Who knows? It's kind of dusty. Like I said, I haven't done any lint rolling, but yeah. So that is today's upcycle. Something for myself, finally. I'm always doing pieces for other people. I needed to do something for myself. But anyway, so if you got this far in the video, you're probably wondering what that little bonus was that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So if you are really, really loving this upcycling journey, you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out, I've got another whole group of people that are just as excited about upcycling as I am. It's called the Refashion Rebels. It's a group-only school platform. That's SKOOL platform. Now, if you go to the platform and you look up Upcycling Sewing Rebels, you're going to find a lovely group of people that are super into all things upcycling, all things repurposing, all things of making life more whimsical and fabulous. We're trying to save Mother Nature and Mother Earth by doing what we can, recycling, upcycling, whatever that we can. And you can join for free if you want to meet like-minded people that are in the same headspace as you are. Very supportive group. I've got a link down in my description that you can join that group. Like I said, it's all free. Now, if you wanted to upgrade, there are perks that come with a premium membership, but please know that that is not necessary to be able to join in on most of the fun. So if you want to check that out, I've got a link in my description, and I would love to see you there. You could also message me directly if you wanted to. I'm in there. I am a premium member because I get a lot of value from what is presented there. And it is just such a fun time. Like, I've literally learned so much from there. I've met so many amazing people. Like, I'm not even kidding. You're doing upcycling and other people aren't really into that kind of thing. They're more like, let me buy all of the things. And just to be able to find these supportive people that just know, they just feel you. If you were interested in checking out that group, you can look down in the description. I'm going to put a link that would lead you directly to the group. Like I said, it's free. I would love to see you join. If you have any questions about this upcycle, leave me a comment below. I do appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.